The resolution authorizes the International Stabilisation Force, a strong coalition of peacekeepers, many from Muslim-majority nations like Indonesia, Azerbaijan, and others, to deploy under a unified command. These brave souls will secure Gaza's streets, they will oversee demilitarization, they will protect civilians, and they will escort aid through safe corridors, all while Israel phases out its presence and a vetted Palestinian police force takes on a new role. At the heart of this plan, colleagues, lies the Board of Peace, a transitional administration with an international coordinating reconstruction financing from a dedicated trust fund backed by the World Bank itself to rebuild shattered lives, homes, hospitals, schools. That's what we will see with this plan and this resolution, not talking points, but actual deliverables. And crucially, per the carefully negotiated language in the 20-point plan, this resolution charts a possible pathway for Palestinian self-determination after the Palestinian Authority has completed the necessary reforms, where rockets will give way to olive branches and there is a chance to agree on a political horizon. It dismantles Hamas's grip. It ensures Gaza rises free from terror's shadow, prosperous and secure. Russia has had a counterdraft. We hear concerns over mandates, but colleagues, hesitation here is the true enemy. We've seen ceasefires crumble before. We cannot repeat the definition of insanity here by doing the same thing that was done before. And by returning to the same frameworks and same talking points that will doom us to repeat this horror all over again. The clock is ticking like a time bomb. So let us vote for this resolution, not as a compromise, but as a covenant for the children of Gaza and for peace that endures. Resolution today provides troop-contributing countries with the framework they need for moving forward with the International Stabilisation Force and global financial institutions the mechanisms they need for channeling investment, respectively. The former will support a region free from Hamas's grip, and the latter, Gaza's reconstruction and development. The path to prosperity, colleagues, requires security first. Security is the oxygen that governance, that development needs to live and to thrive. The International Stabilisation Force will stabilize the security environment, support the demilitarization of Gaza, dismantle terrorist infrastructure, decommission weapons, and maintain the safety of Palestinian civilians. We believe that the investment that will follow adoption today will revitalize Gaza's economy, providing Palestinians with an opportunity instead of saddling them with perpetual reliance on aid. We look forward to working alongside the World Bank to that end as it supports Gaza's long-term redevelopment, even as we address the immediate and dire humanitarian needs. President Trump's historic 20-point plan marked the beginning of what will be a strong, stable, and prosperous region, united in rejecting the path of violence, hatred, and terror. Colleagues, and I say this to the world, this resolution today is just the beginning. An adoption of resolution today demonstrates the overwhelming support for the President's vision for a stable Gaza where Palestinians determine their own destiny, free from terrorist rule and violence. And under President Trump's bold leadership, the United States will continue to deliver results alongside our many partners. We will seize the opportunity today to end decades of bloodshed and make lasting peace a reality.
Colleagues, this is not a theoretical but a very practical issue. And it's particularly relevant given the fact that we've had ambiguous public statements coming from the highest echelons of Israel's leadership stating that it is unacceptable to establish a Palestinian state. Unfortunately, these key components did not make it into the US draft. It also lacks any clarity about the timeframes for transfer to the Palestinian Authority of control over Gaza, any certainty surrounding the Board of Peace and the International Stabilisation Force, the ISF, which, according to the text of the resolution we adopted, would appear to be able to act absolutely autonomously without any regard for the position nor the opinion of Ramallah. This may entrench the separation of the Gaza Strip from the West Bank. It is reminiscent of colonial practices and the League of Nations' British mandate for Palestine, when the opinion of Palestinians themselves was not taken into account. There are also questions about the mandate of the international force. According to President Trump's plan, it didn't state that plan that the ISF would be involved in demilitarizing Gaza nor disarming local groups using all available means. However, in the resolution, the mission is endowed with these peace enforcement tasks, which could actually transform it into a party to the conflict going beyond the confines of peacekeeping. As far as we understand, not a single one of the potential troop-contributing countries agreed to this. Having said that, we'd like to note that Security Council members were in practice not given the time to do the work in good faith, nor to find compromises. Arm twisting in capitals and the twisting of delegations' arms here in New York can hardly be called working in good faith. To summarize, the US document is yet another pig in a poke. In essence, the Council is giving its blessing to a US initiative on the basis of Washington's promises, giving complete control over the Gaza Strip to the Board of Peace and the ISF, the modalities of which we know nothing about so far. The main thing is that this document shouldn't become a fig leaf for unbridled experiments conducted by the US in Israel in the occupied Palestinian territory. It's important for it not to turn into a death knell for the two-state solution. Russia took note of Ramallah's position, as well as that of many other Arab and Muslim countries, which spoke in favor of the US draft so as to avoid a resumption of bloodshed in the enclave. Therefore, we decided not to introduce our own draft, the objective of which was to modify the US concept so as to bring it into line with long-standing agreed UN resolutions. But there is no cause for celebration. Today is a sorrowful day for the Security Council. Aside from what the interested parties want, there's also the notion of the integrity of the Security Council. And today, by adopting this resolution, this integrity and the prerogatives of the Security Council were undermined. In this instance, we wish we'll be proven wrong. We hope that we can count on the US demonstrating its peacekeeping potential in practice, the potential which can be assessed by to what extent the US manages to achieve sustainable peace whereby Israel and Palestine would coexist in peace and security within 1967 borders, with Jerusalem becoming the capital of both states as per Security Council resolutions and General Assembly resolutions as well, the norms of international law, and prior agreements reflecting both Israelis' interests in ensuring their own security and the rights of Palestinians to their own state. Now, the implementation of President Trump's plan falls squarely on the shoulders of its authors and supporters. First and foremost, those of the group of Arab Islamic states. The group of 8 Arab Islamic states. Regrettably, we've already had the unfortunate experience of seeing solutions to the Israeli-Palestinian conflict pushed through by the United States, bringing about the opposite result of what was intended. Don't say we didn't warn you.
China supports the Security Council in taking all necessary actions to achieve a lasting ceasefire, relieve the humanitarian disaster, and launch post-war reconstruction to rekindle the hope of peace and development for people in Gaza. But regrettably, the draft resolution that was just voted on is lacking in many respects and is deeply worrisome. First, the draft resolution is vague and unclear on many critical elements. The penholder requests the Council to authorize the establishment of a Board of Peace and International Stabilisation Force, which will play a key role in the post-war governance in Gaza. It should have explained in detail their structure, composition, terms of reference, and criteria of preparation, among others. This should have been an essential basis for Council's serious discussions. However, the draft resolution contains skimpy details on these critical elements. Despite repeated requests from Council members for more information, no response has been forthcoming from the penholder. Second, the draft resolution doesn't demonstrate the fundamental principle of Palestinians governing Palestine. Gaza belongs to the Palestinian people, not to anyone else. Any post-war arrangements must respect the will of the Palestinian people and give full play to the vital role of the Palestinian National Authority. The draft resolution outlines post-war governance arrangements for Gaza, but it seems Palestine is barely visible in it, and the Palestinian sovereignty and ownership are not fully reflected. Of particular concern is that the draft resolution fails to explicitly reiterate a firm commitment to the two-state solution as an international consensus.